Hello and welcome back to the podcast where you can improve your English while learning something interesting about the world. Today's episode is about something many of us do every single day, scrolling on our phones. You know the feeling. You open one app just to check a message, and suddenly, 30 minutes or even 2 hours have passed. But what is really happening inside your brain while you scroll all day? And why does it sometimes leave you feeling tired, distracted, or even a little unhappy? Let's explore this together in simple, clear English. First, let's talk about what scrolling actually is. When we scroll, we usually move our finger up or down on a screen to see new content. This might be social media posts, news articles, short videos, or online shopping items. Apps like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and many others are designed to give you endless content. This means there is no natural stopping point. You can keep scrolling forever. Your brain reacts to this in a very interesting way. Inside your brain, there is a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical. It is released when you experience something enjoyable or when you expect a reward. For example, when you eat your favorite food, listen to music you love, or receive a kind message from a friend, your brain releases dopamine. This makes you feel good and encourages you to repeat the behavior. Scrolling through social media can also trigger dopamine. Every time you see a funny video, an interesting post, or a new notification, your brain gets a small reward. The problem is that you don't know exactly when the next interesting thing will appear. Maybe the next post will be boring, or maybe it will be amazing. This uncertainty makes your brain even more interested. It's similar to how slot machines work in casinos. You keep pulling the lever because you think, maybe the next time I'll win. Because of this, scrolling becomes very hard to stop. Your brain is constantly waiting for the next reward, the next interesting piece of content. This keeps you engaged, even if you originally planned to scroll for just a few minutes. Now let's talk about attention. Your brain has a limited amount of attention each day. Think of attention like a battery. When you wake up in the morning, your battery is full. As the day goes on and you focus on work, conversations, studying, or solving problems, the battery slowly loses energy. Scrolling uses up this attention battery, but in a very strange way. When you scroll, you see many different types of content in a short time: a funny video, then a serious news story, then a cooking recipe, then a meme, then an advertisement. Your brain has to switch focus again and again. This constant switching is called attention shifting. Attention shifting is tiring for the brain. Even though you are just sitting and moving your finger, your brain is working hard to understand and process all the new information. After a long time of scrolling, you may feel mentally tired, even if your body is relaxed. This is one reason why you sometimes feel exhausted after spending hours online, even though you didn't do any physical work. Another important effect of scrolling is on your ability to concentrate. When your brain gets used to short, fast, and exciting content, it can become harder to focus on slower activities, like reading a book, studying, or working on a long task. Your brain starts to expect constant stimulation and quick rewards. So when you try to do something that is quiet and slow, it may feel boring or difficult. This does not mean your brain is broken. It simply means your brain is adapting to the environment you give it. The brain is very flexible. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, which means the brain can change and form new habits. If you spend many hours each day scrolling quickly through short content, your brain becomes very good at that. But at the same time, it may become less practiced at deep focus. Let's also talk about emotions. Social media is not just information, it is also full of other people's lives, photos, achievements, and opinions. When you scroll, you may see pictures of people traveling, buying new things, celebrating success, or looking very happy. Even if you know these posts show only the best moments, your brain may still compare your life to theirs. This comparison can affect your mood. You might start to feel that your life is less exciting or less successful, even if that is not true. Over time, constant comparison can lead to feelings of stress, jealousy, or sadness. On the other hand, sometimes social media can make you feel connected, inspired, or entertained. So the emotional effect of scrolling is not always negative, but it can become unhealthy if it happens too much. Another thing that happens when you scroll all day is information overload. Your brain receives more information in 1 hour of scrolling than people in the past might receive in several days. News, opinions, videos, messages, and advertisements are all fighting for your attention. Your brain has to decide what is important and what is not. When there is too much information, your brain can feel overwhelmed. This can make it harder to remember things clearly. You may notice that after a long scrolling session, you cannot recall many specific posts. You just remember that you saw a lot of stuff. This happens because your brain does not have enough time to process and store all the information in your long-term memory. Sleep is another area that can be affected by scrolling. Many people use their phones in bed before sleeping. The light from the screen, especially blue light, can confuse your brain and make it think it is still daytime. This can reduce the production of melatonin, the hormone that helps you feel sleepy. As a result, it may take longer to fall asleep, and the quality of your sleep may be worse. Poor sleep then affects your brain the next day. You may feel more tired, less focused, and more emotional. This can create a cycle. You feel tired, so you choose easy activities like scrolling, but then scrolling makes your sleep worse, which makes you even more tired the next day. Let's also look at how scrolling affects memory and learning. When you learn something deeply, your brain needs time to think about it, repeat it, and connect it to other ideas. This process is called consolidation. But when you scroll quickly from one topic to another, your brain does not get enough time to consolidate the information. This means you may consume a lot of content but actually learn very little from it. You might watch 10 short educational videos in a row and feel productive. But if you cannot remember the key ideas later, then your brain did not have enough time to turn that information into real knowledge. Deep learning usually requires slower and more focused attention. Now, you might be wondering, is scrolling always bad for your brain? The answer is no. Technology and social media are tools. They can be used in healthy or unhealthy ways. Scrolling for a short time to relax, laugh, or stay connected with friends is not a problem for most people. The issue appears when scrolling becomes the main way you spend your free time and when you feel unable to stop even when you want to. So how can you protect your brain while still enjoying the internet? One simple method is to create small limits. For example, you can decide to scroll only at certain times of the day, like during a break or after finishing your main tasks. Many smartphones also allow you to set screen time limits for specific apps. When the time is over, the app will close or show a warning. This helps you become more aware of how much time you are actually spending online. Another helpful habit is to make your scrolling more intentional. Before you open a social media app, ask yourself a simple question: why am I opening this now? Maybe you want to check a message, read a specific post, or relax for 10 minutes. When you have a clear reason, it is easier to close the app once that reason is finished. You can also train your brain to enjoy slower activities again. Reading books, writing, drawing, cooking, or having long conversations with friends are all activities that require deeper attention. At first, they may feel less exciting than fast online content. But over time, your brain can relearn to find them satisfying and even more relaxing. Physical movement also helps your brain recover from too much screen time. Going for a walk, stretching, or doing sports increases blood flow to the brain and reduces stress. It also gives your eyes a break from staring at a bright screen. Let's not forget about social connection in the real world. Humans are social creatures, and our brains are designed to interact with real people, face to face. Online communication is useful, but it does not always give the same emotional satisfaction as talking, laughing, and sharing experiences in person. Spending time with friends or family without phones can improve your mood and reduce the negative effects of online comparison. Another interesting point is how scrolling affects your sense of time. Have you ever opened your phone for just 5 minutes and then realized that an hour has passed? This happens because scrolling creates a continuous flow of new content without clear endings. Your brain does not receive strong signals that it is time to stop. In contrast, when you watch a movie or read a chapter of a book, there is a natural end point. This makes it easier to feel the passage of time and decide what to do next. App designers know this very well. Many apps are built with features like infinite scroll, automatic video play, and personalized content. These features are not accidents. They are carefully designed to keep your attention for as long as possible. This does not mean that the apps are evil, but it does mean you should be aware that they are competing for your time and your brain's attention. Understanding how your brain reacts to scrolling gives you more power to make your own choices. Instead of feeling that you are simply weak or lazy, you can recognize that very smart engineers and psychologists have worked together to design these systems to be as engaging as possible. Your strong desire to keep scrolling is not a personal failure, it is a normal reaction to a very stimulating environment. Let's imagine 2 different evenings. In the first situation, you come home, feel tired, and start scrolling on your phone while lying on the couch. 3 hours later, you feel even more tired, your eyes hurt, and you cannot clearly remember what you saw. You also feel a little guilty because you planned to do other things. In the second situation, you still scroll for a short time, maybe 15 minutes, to relax. Then you stop, make some tea, and spend the rest of the evening reading, talking to someone, or working on a hobby. At the end of the night, you may feel calmer, more satisfied, and ready to sleep. The difference is not the phone itself, but how and how long you used it. Your brain is always learning from your habits. If you train it to expect constant fast entertainment, it will ask for more of that. If you train it to enjoy deeper and slower activities, it will slowly change and support those habits instead. This is the power of neuroplasticity again, your brain is shaped by what you do every day. Before we finish, let's review the main ideas from today's episode. Scrolling all day affects your brain in several ways. It triggers dopamine and keeps you searching for the next reward. It uses a lot of your attention and makes your brain tired because of constant switching between different types of content. It can reduce your ability to focus deeply and may influence your emotions through comparison and information overload. It can also affect your sleep, memory, and sense of time. However, scrolling is not automatically bad. It becomes a problem mainly when it takes too much of your time and replaces other healthy activities. By setting small limits, being more intentional, and balancing screen time with offline activities, you can protect your brain and still enjoy the benefits of modern technology. The next time you catch yourself scrolling for a long time, try not to judge yourself too harshly. Instead, take a moment to notice what your brain is doing. Are you bored, tired, curious, or avoiding something difficult? This awareness is the first step to changing your habits in a way that feels natural and sustainable. Thank you for spending this time with me and for practicing your English through this topic. If you found this episode useful, you might try to talk about it in English with a friend or even summarize it out loud to yourself. Speaking about what you have learned is one of the best ways to improve both your language skills and your understanding of the topic. I hope you have a calm, focused, and balanced day, both online and offline. See you in the next episode.